Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. It's been 2 weeks since we last saw Napoli play, and today they came out with their special Halloween kits, and I swear I thought it was gonna be a scary night for us. But 80th minute, Victor Osimhen rises to the skies and scores. Guys, let me know if there's any issues with the audio, if there's any issues with anything before I get too much into the stream. Just want to make sure that everything's okay on your side, because I have had that issue before. There's a lot of new subscribers over the last week thanks to collaboration with Verona TV. So just want to warn them that sometimes this does happen. Yeah, so I've asked a poll. Apparently now you can do polls. What is 8 times 3? And I think 24 now is my new favorite number, at least for the next week. It is my new favorite number, guys. Okay, everything is fine. Let's go. I'm not speaking then just to myself. That's great. So let's see some of the comments here. Lots to talk about in today's game. Gerald Huapa with straight to the point, asking, Interista here, do you guys not have another penalty taker? So I did ask this on Twitter, so let me actually go back on my phone. Let's go find my poll and see what people are saying about who should take the penalties for Napoli. Let me just read out. So 200 votes since the first half finished, which is when I asked the question. I put 4 options: Osimhen, Fabian, Koulibaly, and keep Insigne. And keep Insigne actually got a surprising 18%. That's 36 of you out of 200. So that's actually quite a lot. 18% still want Insigne to take the penalty. 57%, so the overwhelming majority, Victor Osimhen, and then Fabian and Koulibaly 14 and 11. I picked those two because they seem the most calm on the field. I didn't want to pick someone like Politano because, well, we know he's not starting every single game, and I just wanted to keep it to the people that are starting for sure. So actually, Osimhen seems like he's the one that would take them according to most or that's what Napoli fans want. I think he took them at Lille. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do want to test that out. Insigne has missed a lot of penalties. Look, we love Insigne. I'm not gonna start hating on him for a missed penalty, but we gotta try something. And maybe give it a rest, and then let him take a penalty when the result doesn't depend on it anymore. So when it's not 0-0, when we're not losing or drawing, let him take it when, we're 2-0 up and he can afford to potentially miss a penalty. Let's in the meantime do something else with Insigne and try something else. So let's see. A lot of people in the house, man. 45 people in the house. Guys, make sure that if you are joining, then you are smashing that like button and subscribing. For every like or new subscriber, I do donate 1 cent to the Fondazione Cannavaro Ferrara, which is meant to help children in Naples, with that obviously are less fortunate. Let's see. 24 is for Insigne as well, says Annelboy619. That's true. 24 points, but also 24 for Insigne, the worst player on the field today. Let's see. Hanno Hiking is saying, so happy with the goal. I had the whole match a feeling we would drop points. I had that feeling since last night. Since I saw the Milan game, I thought things are not going in our favor. Luckily, we were better and stronger than Torino, and better and stronger than the luck that seemed to be against us today. So Yo is saying Insigne was angry as well when he got substituted. Kevin Perry is saying mentality is so much better this year. Spalletti not only better tactically, but has been a better manager this year as well, as seems to be. Yes, 100%. But I'm starting to notice when substitutions are happening, a few players are not very happy with coming off. So we saw that with Lozano. We saw that with Insigne, not the first time with Insigne. I think we need to make sure that that situation doesn't escalate. Because I'm sure everybody wants to play in this winning team. I'm sure everybody wants to find more minutes. And Spalletti is doing the right substitutions. He's just got to make sure that the team, everyone in the team, respects those substitutions and doesn't complain. And if they are going to complain, because they're in their right to complain, everybody has a right to complain, they do it privately. They do it the next day in Spalletti's office, not in front of the whole world to see. So was a bit disappointed with that one from both Insigne and Lozano, their reactions to coming off. Let's see. Victor Airlines says Cleto. Yeah, Victor, man. I'd like to know how high he flew for that goal that we scored. It was just something crazy. Lorenzo Libuti saying, what's 9 plus 10? This guy missed a lot of math classes. It would have been funny last time with 21, because I know the meme, 9 plus 10, 21. But it's 24 this time, man. Come on, get with it. What happened with Chucky, says Lusty OG. Look, Chucky came on as a substitute and then got taken off in the last minute. But we'll cover why, guys. Chucky Lozano, unfortunately, is just... He came on, he got a really good chance. He hit the post. But defensively, there were some things which were causing some serious red flags. All right? So we will analyze that. And I think Spalletti saw that as well. And he had to do something about it. He had to put in an extra defender at that time. So let's go straight. Okay, there's a lot of comments. I want to try to cover maybe at least 2 more comments before I go into the analysis of the game, the tactical analysis. And guys, if I sound a bit strange today, it's because I'm recovering from a cold. So if my voice is a bit off, it's not something to do with your computer or phone or whatever. It's just me. Anyways, Eric Clark is saying Lozano not the greatest today, but his maturity is a lot better than the past years. Fair enough. ID Beats is saying, I was studying in Naples and my professor told me that I had to use pen. I checked my bag and all my pens were gone. After watching security footage, I saw that Lorenzo Insigne has taken all my pens. Oh man, Insigne is gonna get a lot of criticism, isn't he? I mean, that's just Insigne's story with Napoli. When it seems like everything is behind him, something happens. It's kind of got to do with that video that I just released a week ago about it. Who's saying 9996 is saying, hi Dom, this is one of the toughest games in this season for so many reasons. FIFA week and Torino team, they designed to be anti-Napoli. What a monumental performance from Victor. I'm not sure what you mean by FIFA week, but Torino is a tough cookie to crack, and even Juric as well. Glad we got that out of the way. 8 out of 8 now. I think this Napoli team is good enough for survival. Definitely think they're good enough for survival. Anyways, let's go straight into the analysis, guys, because there's so many things that happened in the first half that then we can say, oh, I can see how that approach contributed to something that we did in the second half, or why when this happened and that happened. So let's go straight into the analysis of the game, guys. As always, you guys love that stuff, so let's get started. So a key thing in today's game was first time passes. All right, and we'll see that with the goal that we scored later. But this is a chance from the 8th minute, something like that, where we have Di Lorenzo, Anguissa to Politano to Victor Osimhen, all one-touch football. And the really nice thing about this one-touch football is that it's designed to get past the opposition lines as quickly as possible. You see here how we get past that first midfield line, then that second midfield line, and then, you know, it's up to Osimhen at that point to just beat his center back, or the center back that's against him. But the way that Napoli did this is very clever, and it was a clear decision from Napoli to try to play one-touch football, because Torino is a team that likes to press, and if you stay on the ball too long, they are so physical that it's actually hard to wriggle away past them. So that's something that we see in Napoli's goal as well later on, but further up the field. We had this chance with Osimhen, which he created all by himself. I mean, he starts off basically from the half-field line, brings it all the way up, down the left-hand side, turns around, sees that no one's around him, comes inside, and then curls it just wide of the post. But, I mean, he's showing that he can do so many different things. Long-range efforts, tap-ins, headers, so much. I mean, this one, it was so close to being a goal. Insigne had some good moments. Before he missed the penalty, he was actually playing pretty well. So one thing that I saw was, for example, that he was tracking back. I mean, you can see here Mario Rui and Koulibaly on the left have both lost their man. Insigne instead steps in, recovers the ball, and mentally he was doing okay. It seemed like he was doing fine. I thought he was having a decent game up to that point, doing things defensively, doing things offensively. But this is something that, for example, people like Lozano need to learn more from. One thing that I will never criticize Insigne for is his work rate, especially defensively. I think there's no other winger in the world that tracks back as much as Lorenzo Insigne. And I think Lozano really needs to remember to do that a bit, and we'll see that later. This is an opportunity that Politano missed. He took a shot, head down, and just went for it. I think the angle here wasn't favorable for a shot, so I think it was a bad decision to go for that. And I think what he should have done in this case was go far post towards Insigne. I think that would have been a much better opportunity for Napoli. I think if he had raised his head up, he would have seen maybe the run. Insigne made a good run, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Let me go back to the comments before I go on with the analysis of what happened in the game, so that I don't lose too much of the thread of what's going on in the chat. Let's see. Kevin Perry saying still only been scored 0-3 times in 8 games. Koulibaly, Romano, Spina have been great. So I think he's saying, yeah, we've only conceded 3 goals, which is crazy. Mertens did a great job, says Gennaro. 100% Mertens, when he came on, changed the game completely. ID is saying it's amazing how teams improve after they fire Gattuso. He doesn't even need to coach a match. You just need to hire and fire him. Look at Fiorentina. I mean, guys, come on. Fiorentina, he didn't even get 1 game in. Ronaldinho saying, I feel like Lozano won't reach his full form for Napoli until he's consistently playing as a left winger like he does with Mexico and PSV. Yeah, potentially, but that's the thing about playing at the top level. I mean, I don't think Lozano would be a guaranteed starter in any of the top 3 teams across Spain, Italy, Germany, and England. He would be in those teams. He's good enough to be in those teams, but you wouldn't say Lozano would be a starter at Liverpool. You wouldn't say Lozano would be a starter at Bayern Munich. You wouldn't say Lozano would be a starter at Real Madrid. He would be in that team. He'd be an important player. He'd start some games. He'd start on the bench other games. And that's just the life of a player that's at the top level but isn't quite world class yet. And I think Lozano, he's very good. There's just not enough difference between him and Politano, I feel. And there's very few players that have a starting 11 spot guaranteed in attack. They have to be very, very, very good. And unfortunately for Lozano, Politano is around that level. Let's see. Let's go to the next thing. Osimhen here, showing that he's got leaps today. Ball went slightly high, but the way that he was able to beat his man, get on the ball first, it showed that he was feeling it today. He was feeling it. And then we have these free kicks, these set pieces that Napoli are doing, which last year we couldn't even score on a set piece if our life depended on it. Now it seems like every set piece we're inventing something new, and this time Insigne on the floor passes it to Giovanni Di Lorenzo, first post or front post. He gets tackled. It's a penalty. Insigne steps up, and then we all know what happened. Insigne misses, and it's just a horrible, horrible penalty, guys. Very bad penalty. Very bad. It's so bad. There's no excuse for it. It's a really bad penalty. There's just no other way to describe it except really, really, really bad. I mean, I think anyone here in the chat would have had a better chance of scoring had they taken that penalty compared to the one that Insigne did, which was, it was slow, central, and didn't wait for the goalkeeper to go one way or the other. And it just didn't work. And as I said, I have the poll, and I think the majority of people are saying that Osimhen should be the one that takes the penalty. So let's see. But then there was other free kicks, right? There was this one where Insigne gave it to Zielinski. Zielinski gave it back to Insigne. Insigne then gave it to Koulibaly. Then Koulibaly gave it back to Insigne. And it's just like, what is going on? Every time there's a free kick for Napoli, something new. We're seeing something new, which is great. I love to see that. I wonder how much time they spend working on these and how many more we can see. I think that we should try not to be too creative too often, because then I think it loses that element of surprise. Even though every time it's a bit different, I feel like it does lose a bit because you're expecting something not traditional. So I think every once in a while we should go the traditional route, just whip it in, do that 3-4 times, and then try something a bit more unique. But you know what? This almost worked, so why not? We had a really good chance here with Anguissa pulling it back for Koulibaly, and even the way I couldn't get a right photo, but even the way Anguissa got in that position, it was with these like little 1-2 passes, a bit like we saw in that earlier free kick. 1-2 passes, Anguissa's on the left, pulls it back for Koulibaly, and Koulibaly has got the full goal on his right to aim for, and just sends it straight back across where the goalkeeper is, and the goalkeeper manages to make a save. But this one really should have been a goal from Koulibaly, honestly. It's a bad miss, even though he is a centre back. We had this opportunity here at the end of the first half as well, with Di Lorenzo going down the wing, providing a really good cross, and then Zielinski not getting at the end of that. But I'm wondering if there was a bit of a shirt pull. VAR didn't check it. I don't think the ref saw it. Zielinski didn't complain. So it would have been a soft penalty. But dangerous play by Torino over there. And honestly, we should have done better there. We should have gotten to the ball, but we didn't. And then the first half was ending, and ever since Insigne missed that penalty, it seemed like Napoli players just completely lost their heads. They didn't know how to play anymore. It was 3 versus 1 situations. We've got, this situation here. This is the stuff of nightmares. Seeing 3 players against Mario Rui. Honestly, this is the scariest thing that you could see as a Napoli fan. A 3 against 1 with Mario Rui there. Somehow Torino were so wasteful that they missed this chance, and then a minute later, or maybe not even a minute later, maybe 30 seconds later, they have another chance, super similar, where it's 3 against 2. This time it's Koulibaly and Rahmani sorting it out, so we've got a better chance. But again, 3 versus 2, you'd expect Torino, to do better, but they don't. And luckily, that was the case, man. Because it could have been really bad for Napoli at the end of the first half. And we start the second half and things are not really going that much better. Napoli are sitting super deep. There's such a gap between Osimhen and everybody else. So the strategy was just send the ball over to Osimhen and let him sort it out. And it's really bad. Napoli was completely in their third of the pitch. And when we did bring the ball up again to Osimhen, we didn't have enough numbers supporting him. I mean, this is, I think, 7 or 8 seconds later. And you can see Insigne on the bottom of the screen. Politano has made a bit of an effort to catch up, and Osimhen eventually passes it to Politano. But there's no one centrally making the run inside. Fabian doesn't follow. Zielinski doesn't follow. Anguissa doesn't follow. And Osimhen is just there, 1 against 5. And I'm thinking, we're not going to get a goal. It's going to be extremely difficult. The way the team is set up now, to get a goal, we need to change something. So let's see some of the comments before we get into the rest of the game. Unas, Malquit and Manolas are all injured. All could have helped us against Legia in my books. Yeah, thinking of the next game, ID beats. Diego Marquez is saying, what's going on with Lozano? Yeah, I mean, nothing too serious. He just came on, substituted Politano, and then he came off in the last 5 minutes because we needed to defend the result. I mean, I don't think anything serious happened with Lozano, in my opinion. And then the problem is that he reacted badly. Instead of just coming off, he wanted to go straight to the changing room, and so that's a bit of a bad behavior. It's not the sort of thing that you want to see when you're winning. When you're winning the game, you're top of the table. There's no need for that at all. Angel Cebrero saying Lorenzo is not as good as Chucky. Lozano is way better than Lorenzo, but way better. Even if Lozano don't have that many minutes, he proved it already. Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. Insigne is never gonna not play starter for Napoli, and I would disagree that Lozano is better than Insigne. I think Insigne has these moments where he's not playing very well, and this happens to be, I think, one of his moments. But then you've got to play him, because then there's periods where he will pull something out of the bag for you, and you can't not have that on the field at times. Victor Sanya saying, Osimhen took penalties at Lille and Nigeria. He always plays his penalties low and to the right since 2015. This was the first game I saw a defense efficiently manage Osimhen. Bremer did a very good job. Yeah, I mean, Torino did well because we left Osimhen completely alone. We didn't support Osimhen at all. But Osimhen did fantastic going up against the full Torino defense. Just incredible stuff from Victor. And, Napoli here, we had a disallowed goal. They took 2.5 minutes to make this decision on whether it was offside or not. No replays, no nothing. That was frustrating with Giovanni Di Lorenzo. But again, another free kick and another super good opportunity. So Napoli is really working on this, and that's something that's been missing over the last few years, which is encouraging to see. And this is, Osimhen doing what he does best, protecting. In this case, not really the ball because the ball's in the air, but protecting his position, and then he turns around extremely quickly, lets the ball bounce. He's the first to it. The defender completely miscues it, passes it to Lozano. Lozano shoots, and it hits the post. And at this point now, we've missed a penalty, offside goal, and we've hit the post. So we can't catch a break at this point. It's the 60th minute, and we're thinking, all right, this is it. We're just not gonna win. It's impossible. And then Torino was like, you know what? Maybe we could win this. And all of a sudden, they have a few opportunities. I think the best opportunity they have is just 2 minutes after the one where we hit the post, where they go straight through our defense, and luckily Ospina's there to save, a great save. And, he's been phenomenal, Ospina, since he's basically, since this season. We've only conceded 3 goals, and he was fantastic with Colombia against Brazil. This time, the 2-3 times that he got tested, he was there. So phenomenal stuff by Ospina, and Meret is going to find it very hard to get a starting spot in this team if Ospina keeps doing this. This is I think where Lozano can improve. So this is an opportunity that Torino had. The defense is not really in the best position possible, because we know Koulibaly likes to go forward, tries to recover the ball high. That leaves a bit of a space, and there's a Torino striker that's going in between Di Lorenzo and Rahmani. That means that Fabian and Di Lorenzo need to squeeze in. So either Fabian catches up or Di Lorenzo needs to squeeze in. All right. Fair enough. That doesn't seem to be like too much of an issue. But then look what happens with Lozano. He is, what is that? 7 feet, 2 meters, more, 3 meters, 10 feet above or further forward than a Torino player. And he's just ball watching. Doesn't realize that the Torino player is making a run behind him, and that's the outcome. The ball is played in second post, and Lozano is miles away from the Torino player. And let's go back to that starting position. This is like 3 seconds later. And when the score is 1-0, you can't have a player on the field like that. It would be way too dangerous, I feel. So not in this game, not in a game where we're not getting many opportunities. If there was a game where it's like, okay, we're winning 1-0, so yes, we do want to defend, but at least we're getting opportunities every 2 or 3 minutes, which means that, the attack's doing well, we're pushing them, we have an opportunity to score the second goal. But in this game, guys, there was no opportunity to score a second goal. There was no opportunity to do anything. I think at this point it was still 0-0. You've got to defend. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. So, for me, that's why as soon as we then scored the goal, then Spalletti took Lozano back off, because you can't do this at this level. It's too much. And luckily, that went high, and because they are intrinsically difficult to score, those second post opportunities, which is why I always say that the fullback should always come in closer to the center and mark whoever's making the central run, because it's very difficult to score those chances. But you've got to have the winger that comes back. And then we get to Napoli's goal. And this is something that I've mentioned on Twitter as soon as the game ended. It's something that I talked about in other videos. If you watch my video of how Napoli will play under Spalletti when we were still in preseason, and if you watch the video that I did last week with Rabona TV, I talk about this. Napoli are going to recover the ball very, very high. That's something that Spalletti has insisted on since day one of the retreat, and this is how we score our first goal. Koulibaly. There's actually 2 people there, Koulibaly and Mario Rui. So 2 out of the 4 defenders are there, pressing super high. And then they recover the ball. And then this one-touch football that we've seen throughout the game, sporadically, but throughout the game, where we go from Koulibaly to Mertens to Osimhen. Then Koulibaly moves into a strategic position alongside Osimhen, so that Osimhen is not surrounded by 4 white shirts, but Koulibaly takes on some of them. So Koulibaly takes on some of them. Meanwhile, Mertens continues his run. Osimhen to Mertens. Mertens to Koulibaly. Koulibaly flicks it back to Mertens. All one-touch football. And there's a corridor that Mertens runs into. He crosses the ball, hits the Torino player, bounces off of him, or he tries to clear it. It bounces off Elmas's back, and you can see Victor is just waiting patiently. He doesn't want to go where he knows it's going to be extremely difficult to get the ball, which is where, for example, Lozano is. Lozano's in the right position. There's someone that does need to be there. So, he doesn't want to be in the same position as Lozano, so he stands a bit further back in case there's some loose ball, and that's exactly what happens. The ball's flinged up in the air, and Osimhen jumps extremely high. I mean, this one, it doesn't tell you the full picture. I mean, this is already maybe like half a second after his jump, or after the peak of his jump, but at his peak, he was probably 2.5 meters high, I would say. Which is crazy. There must have been a 60-70 centimeter leap, probably more. I mean, this, I don't know. Maybe someone who follows basketball is able to tell me, maybe can recognize how much of a leap that is. But, crazy leap. And so that's that, guys. That's how Napoli played. And these are the player ratings. But before I talk about these, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat, because I feel like I've been talking for a long time. IDB is saying Politano was horrible. Yeah, I gave him a 5, as you can see. Daniel Lafontaine is saying Lozano tiene que volver a nacer para jugar como Insigne. Basically saying that Lozano needs to be reborn to play like Insigne. Roberto Longo, Mertens brings the nice 1-2 touches at the top of the box. It's nice to see him back. Yeah, it's something that we needed today. We needed that extra support for Osimhen. That was the key in today's game, giving Osimhen something to play with, and that's what Mertens did, because Zielinski never supported Osimhen like that. Whereas Mertens came on, got closer, played those 1-2s, and we got a goal out of it. Ospina goated. Meret needs to make miracles to be a starter again. Yeah, I gave Ospina a 7. Look, I gave Ospina a 7. I could have given him more, but I did think, okay, it's a good save, but it was pretty central. I feel like if it happened the other way around, if Napoli missed that chance, I would have been talking about, let's say, Osimhen missed his shot rather than the goalkeeper made a great save. I think it was pretty central, but still pretty good. You have to be there to save it. But, I'm not going to give him a 10 for one save, so a 7, which is well above average. Let's see. Kevin is saying, Ospina is out of contract at the end of the year. What do you think Napoli should do? Re-sign him and sell Meret, and maybe buy a younger keeper to eventually overtake Ospina? That's a tough question. Look, I think Ospina, if he stays at this level, then we've got to keep him. We've got to re-sign him. Meret needs to play, though. So it's not right for Meret to be stuck on the bench. So in that case, maybe yes. Maybe I would sell Meret. But let's see. Because there's going to be periods where Meret will play. Because Ospina, first off, he's quite injury prone. And second off, it's all about form. There's periods where goalkeepers are less in form, and other clubs don't have the luxury to bring in someone else. Like, for example, I don't think Andanovic or Szczesny are in form at the moment. Or there were periods where they weren't in form, but there was nothing better. So Inter and Juve had to play that goalkeeper. Napoli have this really good option where if ever Ospina goes down, we have Meret that can come in. So even if we do sell Meret, I would like to see a replacement that at least we can rely on. Doesn't have to be someone young. can be someone who's just as old, but that will accept coming on sporadically. And but yeah, Meret does need to play for his sake because he's young. So yeah. Daniel Bowen, thank you so much for your €10 donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. Appreciate that, man. Very kind. How should Spalletti and the club handle Chucky leaving for the locker room? I don't think they need to make too big of a deal out of it. I think Chucky should have not had that reaction, and he should have complained privately if he had something to complain. And I think that if Napoli do something, they need to do it privately. Find the player. I don't know what it is that a Serie A club would do in this case. If it was Sunday League, it'd probably be like, you're cleaning all the shirts this week or for the month. But I don't want to see a big statement out of it. I don't want to see, something public about it. Just keep it within the team, and people will forget about it. If you make it public, then people are going to talk about it, and it just drags on a lot more. So yeah, but we kind of like to see that. We like to see players that have reactions, that want to play. So there's a positive side to that as well. Let's see. Tony Ejiro is saying Osimhen is setting the standard for the next generation strikers. That's true. You gotta have to create your own chances and score lots of goals. No negotiations. That is a very good insight, Tony. I agree. I wouldn't say it's a standard for the next generation. I just feel like they need to have that in their arsenal. There's too many strikers in the past that were tap-in merchants, and that's fine. But if you want to succeed in a team where the rest of the team is not at 100%, is not performing 100%, then you've got to be the type of striker that can create your own opportunities. So I feel like Mbappe, Haaland, and Osimhen are all capable of things like that, where they score goals out of nothing. Other strikers need a bit more help, and that's what will be the difference between, I think, these three and then the others. I do not see other strikers at the moment that are other young strikers that are at that level. I mean, and we see it with also the other ones. I mean, Messi makes opportunities for himself. Salah, Hazard, they used to make opportunities for themselves. Those are the guys that reach the top. And they need to do a bit of both. They need to both be there for the tap-ins, but also be there for when, you have to take things into your own hands. So, yeah. Let's see. Insigne 4, lol. That guy needs a 1 minimum. Man, Francisco. A 1 would have been, let's see, a 1 would have been if Insigne missed a penalty and then scored an own goal and then got red carded. I think that would have been a 1. And I want to keep that that possibility for another time. So I need to be very careful with how I do my ratings, because they have to be consistent. So I have to think like also, what is a 10? So that would be, a hat trick or something like that. So even if someone scores the winner, I can't give him a 10. Even though, Osimhen was really, really good. Roma is dominating Juve right now. Yeah, I mean, I've predicted a Roma win. That's my prediction, to be honest. I'm quite confident that Roma's gonna pull that off. Even though I looked at the odds and it was only 1 out of 4, but I think Roma's gonna win. Visabs is saying Haaland is the only other young striker at his level. Yeah. Haaland and Mbappe are the only two that can currently compete with Osimhen under 23 years old. Those are the only two. 10 is a Maradona versus England in 86. Yeah, that would be a 10. or 10 would be like Mertens against Torino back in 2016 when he scored 4 goals. So we gotta be careful with how we give the scores. But 8.5 for Osimhen is definitely deserved. I mean, he was doing everything up top for Napoli, and you know, it was such a difficult game, and we can kind of see that with the stats here. So if you look at the I don't know why it's all a bit shifted over, but if you look at the possession that we had, it was basically equal, and the pass accuracy was very, very low, below 80% for both teams. I think this might be the first time I see Napoli under 80% in a very long time, which means that the service that Osimhen was getting was very poor. Not a lot of service. And that's because we were messing up too much in the midfield. And a lot of fouls by Torino. Out of those 20 fouls, I think at least maybe 5 or 6 were against Victor. And he was happy to do that. He was happy to go to battle. So extremely good performance by Victor, honestly. And that's the result, guys. That's the table with Napoli 24 points. At this point, we are above Lazio, who are in 5th spot by 10 points. So we're 10 points ahead of Champions League football. So I think now we can stop talking about Champions League football being the target. And I think now we have to say we've got to go for the title. That table, we can't say that Champions League is the target, guys. We can't say it. We're past that stage now. That's something that teams like Inter and Roma and Lazio and Atalanta and Juve will go for. But I think Milan and Napoli have to say that they're gunning for the title. So, yeah. So that's that. But we do have a very tough game up next. Well, we've got Legia first in the Europa League. We've got to win that, by the way. I mean, we've got, 1 point in that group. And Legia have 6. So it is a must-win game, which is pretty annoying. Because, honestly, we should have been on 6 points by now, but we're on 1. And it's super important to be first in the group because that gives you direct access to the round of 32, or round of 16 instead of round of 32. So that's 2 less games to play. So we need to make sure that we do well against Legia, and then we go back to the Serie A, and we have 3 consecutive games. Roma away from home, Bologna at home, and then Salernitana on Halloween. Tough games, guys. Tough games, especially Roma. Let's see what they do against Juventus. And okay, Juventus scored 1-0. Keane. Wow, I jinxed that pretty bad. But you know what? For the table, that's actually maybe not so bad because, let's see. Let's see if this refreshes here. Does it refresh? Well, assuming that Roma drop a point, because it's not 0-0 anymore, but assuming they go down to 15 and Juventus go up to 14, that's even better for us for a top 4 finish. But anyways, as I said, I'm not even worried about what they do, honestly. I feel like Juve-Roma is a game that is for Champions League football, and I'm going to say it now, we've got to focus on top 2. I'm not going to say the title, but top 2. So, yeah. Guys, Spalletti's press conference, and then we'll wrap this up, all right? Let's see what Spalletti had to say about this game. So let's go straight into that. Oh, did I lose Spalletti's photo? I think I lost Spalletti's photo. I'm going to have to re-add that at some point. My bad. So let's see. They ask him, Napoli had a lot of difficulties in today's game. How do you explain all those difficulties that you guys faced? And Spalletti says, look, every game is like this. There's different moments in the game. Winning this game is a lot. It means a lot. It shows that we did a lot, because they have some very different characteristics compared to us. We were very good to wait until the right moment to score, and that was a sign of maturity and strength. For me, it was a very difficult game, but what I saw from the bench was that we won deservedly. And they ask him about playing against Roma next, and he's saying it's an interesting game. Having won this one, we have now given other teams even more motivation to beat us. Everyone wants to beat us. That's the way it works. But it's also nice that way, and we have to, keep going on this route. And we need to try out new things in the remaining games, because we need to always be unpredictable, and I think that teams are learning how Napoli are starting to play. So that's what Spalletti said, and he continues. They ask him, is Osimhen a leader of this team? And he's saying he is very good, very, very good. Today he did something that I talked about in the past games, and he's also very good at letting the team come up when they're basically way back in their own half. He collects the ball, he controls it, protects it, and allows the team to go up. And he did some really good passes, and he is a leader. But with one leader, you don't go anywhere. In this team, we have many leaders. Lozano today did what he had to do. The thing is that the game made me do this change. I'm so sorry for him. I hope he understands that. I understand his reaction, and me as a player, I would have done the exact same thing. But when we went back to the changing room, he was happy. He was congratulating the team. And so I think that's behind us. He says, I have 5 substitutions that I can make. And I had to make the most of that. Elmas as well is an exceptional player. He always comes on with great enthusiasm, and he runs a lot and puts in a real good shift. So that's fantastic for us. They ask him about the Insigne penalty and the reaction that the crowd had, and he's saying, look, it disappointed me to have to substitute Insigne because he missed the penalties, and because he missed the penalty, and there's going to be a lot of criticism towards him, but he needs to have respect for the people that are on the bench. I have to be correct and fair with everybody in the changing room. I have to take into consideration and into account things that maybe, or whatever can give us more of an advantage. We have to consider that. So then they ask him, what else does Insigne have to do for him to, not get any more criticism from Napoli fans? Because we talked about it in the video that I made last week. He's always getting criticized by Napoli fans, and Spalletti says, look, guys, I don't want to talk about the contract, if he signs or not signs. It's actually very courageous of Insigne to go and take the penalties. He is a leader. He has personality. The next penalty, Insigne will take it. So, yeah, he's saying the next one will be Insigne. The one after that will be Insigne. The one after that will be the captain. And the one after that will be the guy with the number 24. So he's saying Insigne forever on penalties. So guys, if you are hoping that we see Osimhen or Lozano or Politano or Fabian or Ospina or Koulibaly or whoever take penalties, that's not going to happen. It's going to be Insigne, unless that's just something that we say to, not have other teams study these players, and then we, turn up with Ospina taking penalties or something like that. So, yeah. And then final question was about Mertens, and and basically he's saying, Mertens loves playing at home because he he conquered the Maradona Stadium. Basically, he is the history of this team. He is a player that has tremendous qualities when playing in tight spaces, and when he shoots on goal. And he's got great numbers here at Napoli, and I felt like he was the right player to bring on at that moment. So that is Spalletti talking about the game. And let's see, he had an interview with DAZN as well. Let's go check that one out. Let's see if he says anything interesting. I'm just scanning his interview. So they asked him about Rahmani. He said he is a player that has grown a lot, and he has earned his spot as a starter. He is a talented player, but he needs to improve on his construction, on his decision in the construction. He is complete defensively, and it's very hard to find a weakness in Rahmani because he's physical, he has impact, and he is super available to go and support the team. But he needs to improve, maybe going and helping the team forward a bit, which I find a bit strange because I feel like Rahmani doesn't misplace a single pass. But maybe Spalletti is thinking, I want him to risk it a bit more. So I'm okay with him maybe messing up once or twice, as long as he's trying out less safe options. Other than that, I think they're asking him they ask him about Anguissa, and he's saying, no, let's not talk about Anguissa, I'd rather keep him hidden. So basically, we obviously haven't bought Anguissa yet, so the less people talk about Anguissa, the better, the less competition we would have, because Napoli have the priority from Fulham to sign Anguissa, but it's the player that has the final say. And if we talk about Anguissa too much, and teams like Real Madrid or Liverpool or Bayern Munich come in and offer him an even better contract than what Napoli can, then he's got the option of deciding, do I take Napoli's offer or do I take, let's say, Bayern's offer? So it's not just that Napoli need to buy Anguissa. Anguissa has to want us back. And if we keep talking about him, other clubs are going to be interested, and then they're going to try to snatch him. So Spalletti's saying, let's not talk about Anguissa too much over here. I think we all know how good he is. And they ask him, where did Napoli grow the most? And he's saying, we grew the most in our mentality, in going to battle with personality, and we're just a better team overall at the moment. So that's Spalletti, and I think that we got away with this one, guys. We got away because we weren't brilliant, but Osimhen was, and thanks to him and thanks to Mertens coming on, we managed to grab a win. So that's that, guys. So anyways, I think that covers it. Let's all go and watch now the Juventus-Roma game, or let's have dinner or whatever. Enjoy your Sunday however you want to enjoy it. But that is everything from me, guys. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined. There's a lot of you that joined today. Thank you for everyone that's joined for the first time today. For all the new subscribers over the last few days, let me get maybe like a few more comments before I wrap this up. Let's see. Giuseppe Scarpa is saying, I was watching the goal, and that is a real strong-minded team there. Koulibaly gets the ball and does not waste it with a useless shot. Really a big improvement on how we managed that chance with quick passes. 100% Giuseppe. Koulibaly recovered it super high, and then great passing and movement from everyone. The movement that Koulibaly did to go alongside Osimhen was so important, because otherwise there would have been too many people on Osimhen. Instead, he went alongside Osimhen, and so Osimhen had the freedom to pass it back to Mertens, and Mertens did what he does best. It was just great. Everything worked out for us. Matt Marco is saying, I'd really like to see him come into form here at Napoli and play his price tag, talking about Elmas. That being said, Chucky has always made it known Barca is his dream club, so if they continue to shell out senseless money, I would support him going there. We'll see. Sudershan Brambat, sorry if I butcher your name, guys. Really have a soft corner for Napoli. Really liked them way back from when Sarri title charge with players like Diawara, Mario Ruiz. Diawara, that's so random, man. Making their first impressions. Recently discovered you. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Happy to have you on board. Super random saying Diawara. I don't know how people can fall in love with Napoli through Diawara. That's so random. Let's see. Rafael is saying Fabian Ruiz for penalties. Why not? That's maybe the one that I would go for, because I feel like Osimhen would be a good penalty taker, but I personally want someone who's less emotional taking penalties, so that's why I would go for Fabian. Osimhen is still a bit emotional. Kanahun Flame is saying, I love Spalletti's responses. Gattuso would blast Chucky and say that weak twig gave us no defense, so we had to pray for Jesus. Which is funny because then Jesus came on. Yeah, I mean, that's my job. My job is to point out where we're going wrong. So I pointed out, look, Lozano wasn't tracking back, but I can do that because I'm not, talking to these guys every day. If I was Spalletti, if I was in the role of Spalletti, I wouldn't also point it out. I wouldn't say, oh, Lozano didn't defend. I would say the same way that he said it, which is how you're meant to say it, which is, look, the game needed this. I hope he's okay with it. Next time it won't be the same, stuff like that, because you don't want to bring a player down in front of everybody. But yeah, all right, guys. Okay, he's saying Diawara scored a last-minute winner later that season. Okay, against Chievo. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. That's so funny. That someone has Diawara as one of their favorite players. So, all right, guys, I think that covers everything. I need to make some dinner, so I gotta go. So, talk to you guys for, I think, a game against Legia Warsaw on Thursday. Yes, I will be there against Legia again on Thursday. So yeah, just hanging tight for another 3 days, and we'll be back with some more Napoli stuff. Hopefully we can get our first win in the Europa League this week. That would be super good. And yeah, guys, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your week, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre.